let's just get into these questions right now.
Does intermittent fasting work for all body types?
I mean, it depends on what you're saying. I think intermittent fasting will work for most people as far as fat loss and insulin sensitivity, regardless of what body type that you have. I think if you're like an ectomorph and you have a hard time gaining weight and you never have any fat on your body, it could be a little bit tighter in that your intermittent fasting window probably doesn't want to be longer than like 12 hours for a person like that, right? Cool.
Best way to manipulate triceps for growth?
Cool. What's up, Andrew Hawley from Portland? Best way to manipulate triceps for growth. There's a lot of different things, but again, the triceps are extensors, right? So the triceps, couple things. When you're talking about like the middle head, that crosses the shoulder joint. So like that middle thickness component of the triceps, you're going to activate that by things like overhead extensions, right? So things like French presses, overhead extensions, that's going to hit like that long head. Even dumbbell pullovers, barbell pullovers. If you scroll back to our workout of the week on triceps, we actually went over that stuff. Like basically we did pullover motion, so that's going to hit that long center head. But again, the triceps themselves are extensors. So anything that's going to be skull crunchers, you can hit them with behind the back kickbacks, you can hit them behind the back dips, close grip bench, a variety of exercises, and a variety of rep ranges,
Should women train like men?
As far as the principles of repetitions are concerned, and as far as the principles of periodization are concerned, yes. The difference is that a woman's physique, what their outcome is going to likely differ from a guy's, right? So like, for example, say you're a bodybuilder and a guy, they say shows are one from the back for guys, but they're also one from the back for girls. But in the same token, for guys, they're going to have a massive, thick, huge back, right? Girls, it's going to be glutes. So the biggest thing that you want to emphasize is that for women, they're going to train the same way as men, but the body parts that they emphasize are going to be different depending on the outcome that they want, right? Me, I like having huge, like, quads, okay? But if you're, like, doing a bikini competition, if you have quads that overpower, everything else, that's a problem, and you're going to get dock points for that. So, yes and no is my answer. Ray is yeah, love Ray. Ray, you're looking sick, man. Looking absolutely phenomenal, man. He's coming up here pretty soon, actually.
First weekend in August.
First weekend in August.
So pretty soon.
Tampa. Yeah.
Only protein and low carbs when dieting. So it's a question: should you only have protein and low carb when dieting?
Well, I think if the question is, should I just eat protein only? Probably not.
Start to feel like crap after a while.
Yeah, you'll start to feel like crap. So you want to make sure you have protein and some fats with the low carbs. Someone says, how do I build like wider biceps? Well, you're going to want to make sure that you hit them from all angles because, again, you have the long head and the short head here, right? So, you want to make sure that you hit them from every angle possible. Lying tricep extensions with a slightly pullover movement over shoulder. Any thoughts? I love it. That's Michelle. Yes, I think that's a good movement. In fact, sometimes what I do is like you do pullovers and you go to failure with pullovers and then you burn out with skull crunchers. So, basically you're using the long head and then once that's burned out, you're using the other heads, like the outer and the inner head, basically, to keep the triceps burning, but you're also adding more stress to the long head. So I think pullovers to failure followed by like skull crunchers are a good way to do it. How to structure two-a-days, Sevag says, it depends on the goal, right? So if you're trying to structure two-a-days, you're going to want to make sure that you're thinking, for example, like what's the overall goal of the two-a-day? But typically what I like to do is wake up, have some amino acids, maybe a snack and train in the morning, and then after work, go back to the gym and train. With that, intermittent fasting is going to be harder because you're training twice a day. So make sure you probably get at least a light meal and some protein prior to your first workout, a substantial meal after, and then basically after work, go train again. I mean, that's a structure of 2 a day. The biggest thing is you're going to have to rest more. You can't do 2 a days and not get more sleep. Otherwise, it's going to be detrimental. My other advice on 2 days, because you can be more frequent with your training, what you're going to want to do is you may actually have a little bit lower volume workouts on your 2 a days and have greater quality on each of those workouts.
How long should you run an IF program for? Can you do it longer than 12 weeks?
So an intermittent fasting program, I think the assumption is this, really, we like to think intermittent fasting as dieting. So personally, I think that you should have some variation even within that. So for example, if you want I would go 5 days on, 2 days not intermittent fasting to keep your metabolism elevated. And then as far as dieting in general, I don't think you should diet straight for 12 weeks at any time. I think basically, again, 5 days dieting, maybe 2 days not dieting, 5 days dieting, 2 days not dieting, or a high day, moderate day, low day, etc. So try and do more like a daily variation as opposed to 12 weeks. And if you do that, then 12 weeks is fine. And then after that, kind of let your body go on maintenance for probably a month, and then you can go back to a 12-week cycle if you have to lose more fat.
Any opinion about pea protein powder?
Good question. So anytime it depends on what you're looking at for pea protein, but I mean, it's not for building muscle. It's not going to be ideal, right? But if you added amino acids to it, like branched chain amino acids, it would be just fine. So if you're a vegetarian and you add amino acids to vegan type proteins, you'll get a complete protein that's anabolic.
Can talk a little bit more about fat utilization with a higher fat, lower carb breakfast.
So basically, the concept on fat utilization with a higher fat, lower carb breakfast, Jack, is essentially this. A professor or a researcher by the name of Molly Bray proposes that what we eat in the morning programs our metabolism for the rest of the day. So if I wake up in the morning and I eat a bunch of carbohydrates, I fix my metabolism to utilize carbohydrates primarily for the rest of the day. Does that make sense? So if I wake up and have a low-carb, high-fat breakfast, the rest of the day I become more reliant on fat. Is there evidence for that? Yes. There's been good studies supporting that claim.
What is considered an appropriate rest time between sets, and does it serve a significant benefit with really short rest periods for muscle growth?
So, okay, going back, there's the mechanisms of muscle growth, right? One of the mechanisms is muscle damage. Another mechanism is the pump, as well as that burning sensation that you get, which is called metabolic stress. So separate the pump and that burning metabolic stress is one mechanism. Separate muscle damage is another. You want to maximize both. So if I go into the gym and I'm really tired, I probably don't want to maximize the muscle damage component because I'm going to have to lift a lot heavier. So short rest period lengths are going to maximize the metabolic stress component of things and the pump. So if you're going for that day, do that. If you're going for heavier loads, which is going to create a lot of muscle damage, that's the time when you want to do longer rest periods. So for the metabolic stress, 30 to 90 seconds. For muscle damage, 3 minutes to 5 minutes.
What's your opinion on spiking insulin post-workout?
My opinion for spiking insulin post-workout, I think that insulin can be anabolic, but I don't think you need much. And to be honest, I think that you maximize the response, or you get a good enough response with a small amount of carbohydrates. To be honest, even some protein. Mm-hmm. I think so.
Best type of training to get legs conditioned for competition?
Okay. I think giant sets.
Oh.
I think giant sets. So what I do is, like, for myself personally, if I'm really trying to get my legs to grow, is for example, one giant set I'll do is I'll go squats, Then I'll go immediately over and do safety bar squats. Then I'll do leg press. Then I'll do leg extensions. And then leg curls. So that's a giant set. And it really dials your quads in and makes them look full. So supersets, giant sets are definitely the way to go. Do you advise BCAAs or EAAs while on keto? I think they're a good tool, yes. I do. Because especially because if you think about it for a second, sometimes when you're keto and you're really trying to get in ketosis, your protein's a little lower, and BCAAs can help make up for that.
Would you recommend them more around your workout, during your workout?
Good question. I think before your workout's fine.
VL specific exercises, so vastus lateralis specific.
Vastus lateralis specific exercises, like having your feet close in on squats, having your feet close in on things like hack squats are going to work. Leg press, feet close in and down low on the pad is going to hit the vastus lateralis. So feet close in, low down on the pad is going to hit the vastus lateralis for sure. Hack squats, machines going to hit the vastus lateralis as well. Also you can do like those are my main go-tos.
Okay. So this is a good one. Workout of the weeks. Each workout in each day of the week, or all workouts in one day? So do you know the workout of the week we do each week?
Yeah. So what's their question?
Asking if they do them all in one day or do them each day of the week, because there's normally.
Oh, okay. Workout of the week's literally workout of the week, like you do it once a week.
Yeah.
You know, and you might love it so much and want to do it twice in that week, and that's fine. But it's really meant to do once a week because they're pretty intense.
How often do you recommend refeeds?
Okay, so that's a really good question. There's two approaches that we recommend as far as refeeds, and really what we're talking about is more like calorie cycling. One thing that's worked in the past, basically, is you can end up doing like 5 days on and 2 days maintenance calories. Another way that you can go is go like 2 low days, which means 2 calorie deficit days, 1 moderate calorie deficit day, and then one slightly above maintenance day. So it means like you're on like 2 low, like you're dieting hard. 1 kind of moderate, 1 maybe you're just hungry 1 meal. Then 1 where you're either at maintenance or slightly above maintenance. And then go back and repeat. So like I would recommend cycling almost every day in a sense. Or dieting for 5 days and cycling on the weekends.
How to recover faster from working out?
The number one thing that you can do to recover faster from working out is something I'm not doing well right now is sleeping. So basically, like you, Andy either.
I never sleep. It's probably why I never grow.
Yeah, it's the worst thing. Like to be quite honest, like we push ourselves like mentally really hard at ASPI, and we really are working on a lot of projects, and you don't get a lot of sleep sometimes, you know. And so it's the worst thing you can do for your gains. Sleep is the best thing you can do. Like when you go home, be in bed by 10, get at least 8 hours of sleep, more if you can. That's the main thing I would say. Number one is the number one thing that most people don't really focus on. High quality protein is obviously important. Periodize your training. You can't go hard every single workout. You got to periodize that. So that's why, for example, imagine during a week that you have 1 really hard day, 1 moderate day, 1 light day per body part. You can't do a hard day every single day. You won't recover. So also auto-regulate. If you go into the gym and at scale 0 to 10 you feel like you're a 5, don't do your hardest workout that day. Do your lightest workout. So those are all tips that I would recommend.
Off of that point, what would you think about auto-regulating your diet based on your hunger?
And you've done this before, right,
yeah,
Andy?
doing it now.
And what have you seen?
I've only been doing it for 2 weeks, so I really can't say much. But the days I'm hungrier, I eat more. And days I'm not hungry, I eat less.
That's awesome. So I think that's the way of the future, honestly. I think auto-regulating your hunger, because everyone's like, oh, I got to get this many meals in a day, and oh, I have 300 calories left. What if you're not hungry at all and you're dieting? You have 500 calories left. You just eat 500 calories? Does that really make sense? Probably not. You know? So my point is that like what Andy's suggesting is that be in tune with your body and don't just like look at a piece of paper. Maybe give yourself a ceiling, I don't know, but auto-regulate within that.
Should your intensity each day reflect your calorie intake? Low intensity with lower carbs, higher intensity with more calories?
Should your intensity each day reflect your calorie intake? Yeah.
Probably goes back to the auto-regulation.
It's auto-regulation, yeah. I mean, if you're having a high-intensity day, feel yourself better that day. If you're going to go train arms today, why are you going to have a really high-calorie workout?
So this one. This is a neat question.
Patrick Davo says, how is longer sitting affecting my fat loss? It affects it a lot. Does it have a big influence? Yes, it explains a lot of the reasons why some people are lean and some people aren't. I think I have a high NEAT because I also walk a lot. So NEAT's non-exercise activity-induced thermogenesis, and essentially what it means is spontaneous activity, right? So, I'm fidgeting, I'm playing with this pen right now. But we think about behavior, and exercise is a behavior. Walking is a behavior. Sitting is a behavior. And if you sit all day, you have low NEAT, okay? So that's going to impact your fat loss, right? So that's why, I'd recommend, at least every hour getting up and taking a lap or something. NEAT's very important.
Proper nutrition during a deload.
Well, proper nutrition during a deload is going to be a lot lower carbohydrate. And you're going to try and, don't go above maintenance calories, right? So, and I think that's where you auto-regulate your hunger more, because you may not be as hungry during those times. So lower carb for sure is, I think, going to be key on that. Probably lower meal frequency. I think on a deload, it's the time where you might try intermittent fasting, because you'll stay lean.
Looking for a good one. Any recommendations for a female that has a hard time losing fat?
Well, try intermittent fasting. I think that's a really good tool to lose fat. I think intermittent fasting is a good tool for anybody. Eric Olson, is it true that doing more cardio will cause your body to become more hungry? Yes. And it lowers NEAT. Is it just the additional calories burned? No, it's definitely not stagnant. Your body adapts, and so it will want to eat more calories.
Are BCAAs needed in a surplus of calories?
Probably not. Mm-hmm. If you have I'm assuming you have adequate protein in those surplus calories. Protein threshold before sleep, higher? Not really. I think you respond to protein before sleep the same way you do when you're awake.
Is eating a big meal before sleep a bad idea?
I think eating a high carb meal before sleep, a very high carb, high glycemic meal, is a bad idea. I think before bed you should try and stick to more lower carbohydrate options, basically. And I wouldn't do your highest calorie meal right before bed, unless you have problems sleeping and you're a hard gainer. Yeah.
A lot of coaches recommend eating sugar during your workout. What's the deal behind this, and is it necessary?
I don't know the deal behind it, but I wouldn't do it. Okay. The deal behind it is because I think they're just basically saying one, insulin could be anabolic. That's what they're thinking probably, but that doesn't help because when you exercise, you have an adrenaline response and it suppresses the insulin response. So, two, the only data that supports having carbs during exercise, actually I don't know, is really endurance data. Mm-hmm. So if you're cycling 50 miles, do it. Yeah, drink sugar. I guess. But that's the only place. It's the only place that's. If you're weightlifting, I can't see why. Mm-hmm. So, don't do it.
Casein versus whey versus blend.
Whey or blend. Should I go fast?
Yeah, let's see if we can bang through some of these.
Okay, hit on a spinning bike before or after a muscle building training. After, just don't do it on leg day.
Hold on.
Okay.
Gotta find it. Hold on. Sorry, they're coming in quick. Why do I get the best pumps after eating pizza?
Sodium is really high, plus you're getting a lot of carbs. So, and fat actually kind of raises hormones, like testosterone.
Cardio and bulking.
Yeah, I would do it, but I do HIIT cardio.
Fasted versus fed cardio.
I would do either low carb or fasted cardio.
If you undereat one day and eat a surplus the next day, will you halt your bulking progress?
No, because actually undereating sometimes on a bulk could maintain your insulin sensitivity, so it could help.
Any plans to do a training course at your gym?
Oh, we were just literally having a talk about that. So first off, if you guys are the ladies listening to this, females, women listening to this, in October, we'll announce a date soon. We're going to have a camp with Annette De La Rosa and Courtney King, the reigning Miss Bikini Champion. And that'll be here at ASPI. So that'll be a female training camp. A lot of it will be focused on glutes, and hamstrings and stuff like that.
What about a course that?
But I would
Another course.
A course. We are going to be launching a course. I would say probably that's going to be in December.
December-ish, yeah.
We'll do pre-orders in November.
December, something like that.
Yeah. So we will do that, but I think the biggest thing I think to understand is that a course will be coming out, and that's going to be worldwide, whether you're here or not. But yeah, we are going to have more on-site camps and more on-site education. So get ready for that. Which of you guys want to come out to ASPI? Because I think it'd be fun. It's Florida. It's a blast. I want to get a chance to meet more of you on a personal basis when you come out here, and because it's not enough to just talk here. We want to meet you in person. I think that's what it really all comes down to. One more question. Someone goes, may I split HIIT cardio sessions into 2? Yes, it may be more beneficial.
Looking for some other ones. Everybody's excited about the glute camp. Just saying.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so we'll be announcing that soon. But it's going to be sick because we're going to set it up so that, again, it's going to be really cool. We'll have, like I said, Courtney King's going to be here, reigning bikini champion Annette De La Rosa, myself, and Andy will be here too.
I will be here.
Yeah, we should actually do something we'll do something on cooking.
We can.
Yeah.
Cooking and nutrition.
Yeah, Andy's a performance chef. And the cool thing about Andy is that, he's got a background. He has a master's in exercise nutrition. He has a master's in exercise nutrition science, but he also has degrees in culinary science and food science. And so he understands the mechanics of food. So I don't know if I've ever said this live, but Andy's my hero.
Yes.
Yeah, Andy's a hero and a really good friend. He's like a brother to me. But yeah, so yeah, Andy's going to be doing. So Andy actually will talk about the science of food there. He just found that out today.
Yeah, I did. I'm excited though. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so it'll be really cool. So we're definitely going to do that. We're looking forward to guys having you in. Hoping you guys come down for that and other camps as well. Guys, if you're on Facebook, make sure you hit share. If you're on Instagram, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you guys. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, it's everything.
Next week's going to be contraction type, guys. Yeah, contractions.
We started the lesson this week. We're going to finish it next week.
Yeah, we'll finish it next week, and I'll do a Q&A on contractions. See you later. Bye.